Thank you for joining us back again. Our next speaker really is a champion, the champion of champions, if you want to call him that. He is extremely famous, especially in the Middle Eastern region, hails from Saudi Arabia, has had a lot of challenges in his life, especially when it comes to speaking. And today, he has proved to the world that anybody and everybody can speak in the way they desire to. 5 times TEDx speaker, world champion at the 2015 World Championship speech competition. Stands here before you, taking us on his journey on how he embarked life. But the strange thing, he is a cyber securities officer by profession. He has lived his life in Saudi Arabia, most of it, studied in the US for 4 years, and today would like to share this journey with his very famous book, The Power of Words. And when he says it, he means it, that each one of us has the power in our words to either influence somebody from the slums to make them very successful, or just to kill them with our words. So ladies and gentlemen, behold, world champion 2015, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani. Mohammed Qahtani or
Yes. 3, 2, take 2.
So ladies and gentlemen, join me now in welcoming world champion 2015, Mohammed Qahtani.
Hello everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Let me start by asking you this question. What is the first thing that you remember? What is your earliest memory? Now, for some of you, when you travel back into memory lane, you might remember something when you were, 3 years old or 4. And it comes kind of like a dream. My earliest memory, I was 7 years old, first grade school. I'm sitting at the front row. A teacher walks in and placed a book in front of me and asked me to read. And when I started reading, I stuttered. And he slapped my face. What's wrong with you, boy? Speak again. And he slapped me again. Are you sick or something? Read again. And with tears running down my face, I tried third time and I still stuttered. And he said, stop. There is no hope out of you. He took the book and gave it to another student. There is no hope out of you. It might be just a sentence, but that sentence stuck with me. I truly believe that this teacher is right. There is no hope out of me. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, when you face a challenge, when you are faced with an obstacle, you have 2 options. Option A, face a challenge, work on yourself, try to overcome it. Or option B, take the easy road and try to avoid it. And I'm here to tell you that option B, or the easy choice, is usually not the right choice. That was the very first mistake I ever made. I chose to take the easy road. I went to the back of the class, I sat in the back, and I kept my mouth shut. And for years, that was my life. I go to school, I come home, I lock myself in my room. You know how you have childhood friends? I don't have any, because I didn't speak to anybody, not even my siblings. Why? Because there is no hope out of me. I'm a lost cause. And I felt so ashamed of myself. It's like I'm not even worthy. And everybody can speak except me. And because I used to spend most of my time by myself, I used to read a lot and thus became, the top student in my class. I remember last year at high school, as I was about to leave the school, somebody tapped my shoulder I looked over, and it's a fellow student in my class. And he said, Muhammad, you're really smart and you're always the top of the class, but I don't think I ever remembered hearing you speak. And I remember I took a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote, I don't speak. He said, that's not true. Because if you're mute, you'll be in special schools. But you're here with us, which means you can speak. Your problem is you're afraid. However, I can help you. Do you want me to help you? He said, in order to overcome any kind of fear, you need to face the ultimate form of that fear. I said, what do you mean? He said, tomorrow morning, I want you to go to the principal's office and ask him to read the morning announcement in front of the entire school. I know it's scary, but this is your remedy. And my fellow audience, when you're desperate and somebody extend a helping hand, somebody throw you a lifeline, even if the idea doesn't make sense, because you're desperate, you will hang on to it. And that's what I did. I went to the principal and I said, I would like to read the morning announcement. He gave it to me. I stood in front of 400 students, and in my mind I'm thinking, as soon as I open my mouth, my problem will be solved, because he told me so. And I started speaking and I stuttered, and I still remember that moment to this day. 400 students, everybody was just laughing at me. Hysterical laughter. I felt so small and insignificant. The one thing that I've been running away from my entire life, I voluntarily walked right into it. Why? Because somebody gave me an advice? Maybe that teacher was correct. There is no hope out of me. During recess, I went to the same student and I said, I hope you're happy. You made everybody laugh at me. Is that what you want? Did you satisfy your sick pleasures? Are you happy now? And he said, Muhammad, it's not going to happen from the first time. Success is not something like that. It doesn't happen from the first time. Go back and try again. My fellow audience, this is a problem that we all have. We rush conclusions. We rush results. We try to embark on a new journey, and once we hit the first obstacle, we give up and say, well, I guess it wasn't for me. Ask anybody who made it in this life. Ask any successful person. They would tell you they had to fall once and twice and 10 times and 20 times. There will be moments when you're sitting in your living room or even in the shower crying just because you had some hopes and it just didn't work out. But you pick yourself again and try. So he told me, go back and try again tomorrow. And like an idiot, I listened to him again. I don't know why. The next morning, I stood up. I spoke, I stuttered, they laughed. The morning after, I stood up, spoke, stuttered, they still laughed. But I noticed some of the words that I used to stutter in yesterday, I don't anymore. You know what? He was right. This is working. It just needs time. And from that moment on, I took any chance to be on stage. I even joined the theater group. And when I joined the theater group, I used to do comedy plays and play a comedy character. I thought in my mind, hey, if they're gonna laugh anyways, they might as well laugh with me and not laugh at me. Graduated high school, went to school in the US for the university, 4 years university. Every morning I go to school, every night I go to stand-up comedy club and do open mic nights. Sometimes I do well, sometimes I'm getting booed, but the stuttering was completely gone. I was cured. 2004, I came back, I got a nice job, and when I got my job, I thought to myself, let me put all of my energy into my work. Speaking, this is just a hobby, you know. So for 4 or 5 years, my main focus was just doing my work, and I stayed away from speaking. During this 4 or 5 years, I was working on a very big project, and by the end, I need to present it to the board of directors. And I thought to myself, presentation? That's a walk in the park. I used to do stand-up comedy when I was in college. I'm used to the stage. And I remember standing in front of the board, and as soon as I opened my mouth, I'm stuttering worse than before. It was so horrible that my boss cut me off halfway through and said, it's okay, I'll take over. And I walked out of that room thinking, what is wrong with me? I've been on the stage before. Why can I do it anymore? Because, ladies and gentlemen, everybody has a talent that nobody else in this world has. However, if you don't work on it, if you don't improve it, don't think it's going to stick around waiting for you to pick it up whenever you want. The thing that you don't practice, you will definitely lose. I lost it. I lost the ability to speak. And I needed to pick it up again. So I joined the Toastmasters Club. Now, Toastmasters is a non-profit organization with clubs all over the world where you get to practice being on stage every week or every other week. And this is exactly what I wanted. So I joined the club and I started to get my groove back. And I heard about something called the World Champion of Public Speaking. It's a contest that starts from the club level and then you go all the way up. I tried it for the first time in 2010 and I lost. And I had to be reminded by a dear friend of mine that it's never about the winning or the losing. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we often chase like materialistic things, a higher pay, fame, money, power. But it shouldn't be what we're looking for. It should be just a key that opens the door for you to make a mark and make a legacy on this world. The money and the fame and the power, you will get it one day. But ask yourself, what you're going to do once you have it. In 2015, I made it to the World Championship Finals for the very first time. And I stood on a stage with 4,000 people in front of me. And I still remember that room. I cannot even see the end of it. And I thought to myself, 4,000 people all just looking at me, waiting for me to speak. And I gave a speech titled The Power of Words, how words can make or break a person. And later they announced the winners, and they announced the World Champion of Public Speaking, and they said my name. And when I walked into that stage and they gave me that giant trophy, they said, would you like to say a few words? And as I walked the podium, I got flashbacks. Memories of the child who locked himself in because he couldn't speak. Memories of the kid who was laughed at by the entire school. How could this happen? That kid is now here? The best speaker in the world? It seems impossible. So I stood in that podium and I said, if you asked anybody who knew me when I was young, that one day I'll be here, they'll be like, no way. But yet here it is. I'm not bragging because, by the way, this is not me. I mean, like, I had a lot of help. Everybody pushed me to be where I am right now. But this is a testament. A testament that impossible simply does not exist. You know what's the strange thing is? In 2017, I flew to Abha, which is where I grew up. It's a small town in the south side of Saudi Arabia. I flew there to see my mom and dad. And one day, then I decided, you know what? It's been a long time, decades. Let bygone be bygone. So I walked up to him, shook his hand. I said, do you know who I am? He said, yeah, I've seen you all over the news and I'm so proud of you. I said, yeah, okay. I just want to tell you that I forgive you. And he said, for what, son? I said, do you remember when I was in first grade and you slapped my face and you said, there is no hope out of me? He said, sorry, son, I don't remember. The very next year, I'm giving a keynote in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Big stage. When I was done, I stepped out and people came to me to shake my hands or whatever. And I can see through the crowd. I saw a person. I recognized him. The student who gave me the advice to stand in front of an audience. The guy who literally was behind the person that I am today. I couldn't believe it. I walked up to him, shook his hand, and hugged him so tight. And I said, I really want to thank you. He said, for what? I said, you know, you told me to stand in front of an audience at school and start speaking. And he said, I don't remember. In both cases, both men didn't remember what they said. But one of them was the reason for the destructions of a kid's life, and one was the reason for saving it. My fellow audience, there will be times when you're having a bad day. There will be times when you are in the mood. There will be times when you're pissed about something. And you might say something you don't even care about, but you do not know who's in the other end. You do not know who's listening. You might be the reason that somebody is having a horrible life just because of something that you said years ago and you won't even remember. On the other hand, you might be having a meeting with your team and say something motivational or something encouraging, and years later, somebody is having a better life just because of something that you said years ago and you don't even remember. That's why words have an immense power. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we're all going to die one day. We're all going to leave this earth. Ask yourself, what legacy did I leave behind? Did I leave this planet a better planet just because by being here? And if the answer is no, then I'm sorry, you're just a number. You're just a statistic, that's it. When the day comes and people hear that you passed away, there will be three types of responses. People might say, oh, thank God he's gone. It's about time. Or they might say, huh, okay. Or they might say, what? Oh no. Which response are you gonna get? I'll leave the answer